Hey, welcome back to As the Crow Flies 144. I am Dale. If you are my lover, hater, or shady investigator, you're welcome to tune in. But if you don't like what I have to say, then tune out. All right? If you're staying, then please subscribe. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Okay? And if you want to know why I had such a triggering thumbnail, it's because I wanted you to know what I looked like during COVID. All right? Because I just took a shower and I have to dye my roots. Okay. So my roots look lighter than the rest of my hair. And I thought oh, I'll just use my bandana, right? Because I had bought this thing because if you shop at Walmart, if you're poor like me and you have to shop at Walmart, even though you don't want to support that system, then that's where you shop. And then you have what's available there. Well, I saw these hair bands. Okay. And they are actually about that long, but they're like a neck gaiter. If you don't know what it is, ask somebody. So anyway, hang on, let me get shifty. Okay. So I bought these things, right? And there was this color, which is blue. It's very dark blue, but my shirt is black, so you can kind of see a difference. And then there was a red one. And I was like, well, I don't really want the red one, but they come on the package together, so I will just buy them. And I thought they would be good for when you wash your face, you can put your hair back or whatever. So when COVID all popped off and all this nonsense was going on, I'm like, I am not going to spend a single dollar on buying a fucking mask. So what do I have around? Well, I had this around, okay? So I was out around town like a fucking bandit, right? Oh my gosh. I like to tell my children how awesome they are and how fun it is to go through their childhood, sort of, because even though it's a mess because we've developed social media, it wasn't them. It wasn't them who developed it, okay? So everybody calm down complaining about kids and the way that they are. You should know as an adult that all the things that people used to complain about you when you were a kid, you did not develop the things that made you the way that you were. It was the generation before you. So all the people complaining about you, it was the complainer's fault for you to have access to all the things that you had access to that pissed them off about you and the younger generation. Okay. So sorry, you guys developed things too late, I guess. If you wanted that for your generation, then you should have done it. But listen, let me tell you something. It's if you were a kid in this generation, you would be the same exact way because you need to fit in. All right. And there were some gentlemen in a store one time complaining about modern day kids. And I can't keep my mouth shut. Okay. I will keep my mouth shut completely until I hear something worth talking about. All right. So I heard these men complaining about kids nowadays. And I'm like, pardon me, gentlemen, do you mind if I interrupt because I have a question? And they responded nicely because I respected them. Because obviously, if they think that there's something wrong with today's kids, then maybe they have some value and insight as to how we got there or what is wrong, right? And I have 4 kids. So this was probably 5 years ago, maybe 4. And I was like, I have 4 kids and I struggle to know what is right to allow them to have and what not to have. And first of all, the one man was like, well, I pray for you. God bless you for having children in this day and age. And what he was saying is, when you actually confront people on their beliefs, it makes them pause and think oh, okay, I'm affecting somebody. And now I have to, because if they don't know what your opinion is or what you're going to say back, they really modify what they're going to say and they get more gentle with it. Okay. And that's the benefit of confronting people. It's that everybody thinks that they're so tough and we watch movies and things like that. And we're like, I would never react like that. Or, you hear stories about what happened to a friend or something. And you're like, I wouldn't go through that. Well, let me tell you something. I have been through a lot of stuff and I have tolerated a whole lot more than I thought. And it's not because I was weak. It's because I really wanted to be in the places where I was at. And I wanted to be accepted in them. I wanted to be accepted by the people who I liked and the places where I was at. Okay. So a lot of times I would just kind of sit silently and observe what other people were saying or doing to me. And it's not because I was okay with it. It's because I'm observing what the heck is going on here. And I think that people tend to think that I'm really stupid or that I am weak because I allowed them to do the things that they were doing to me. And that's not at all what I was doing. What I was doing was, hang on, let me take this off. I was trying to figure out, like, why am I in this relationship or this space or, this environment, this line of work? Because I felt like everything that I have done has been guided by God. Okay. I don't care if you think that I don't know who God is or what it is or what religion is. That is your opinion. You do not know what was going on inside of me, and you don't know that I was raised in the Christian church. And I was scarred by that because they were so judgmental. Because there are rules that you have to follow. If you don't follow those rules, then you don't belong. Okay. So I saw the conflict between God and religion, and I'm just like, I have to go my own way. You guys know MGTOW, men going their own way, and I wish it were really that everybody in that group is really what that means. So no, it's not. But anyway, I you can see how much stuff I have inside of me and how many things I've been influenced upon or learned from. Learned from is really what's going on, because that was why I stayed so long with the people in places um, where I was at, even though I was like crying inside because I felt like, oh my gosh, this is not at all what I expected or what they said it was going to be like. Just look at when you're applying for a job and they tell you all of the great things about the company, and then you like ask an employee or you look around to see what people look like there, or then you get the job and you're like, that's not at all what you said you were going to do. And then they're like, oh, well, because we have loopholes and red tape and all this other stuff. It's like maybe eventually, or maybe like some people get that experience, but what I was saying is that it's so hard for me to stay focused on one topic because I know so much, because I've been observing based on the places where God has aligned me to. Okay. So sometimes when you think, actually all the time, when you think you're going to um, have a relationship with somebody, or you're going to have a relationship with an environment or a job or something, you think it's because like you're in alignment with it and you're going to be good at it and they're going to see the good qualities within you. And it's like, that is never what happens. God places you in different locations so you can learn about the environment and you can learn what's right and wrong based on the truth within you. Let's say that, do you guys remember those "What Would Jesus Do" shirts and bracelets and things like that? My sister was all into that stuff. And so, because when you don't fit in, it's at least good to conform with a group that is like bound by love instead of judgment, negative judgment of others. So she had started a Bible club in the school, so she didn't feel like she fit in, I don't think, neither did I. So at least she kind of like formed a group. And that's what I am trying to do, is that I don't fit in anywhere with 100% of myself, except maybe with veterans and like maybe with complete, like people who you would think are weird and dark and witchy and all these other things. And it's like, you find all types of people, like a whole spectrum of people in every single environment that you're in. Okay. So when you're outside of it, you have this like delusion of what it is on the inside. And then that's why I don't care about what I'm scared of. I like, I know I am very, very uncomfortable in whatever my present situation is. So it doesn't matter, because the pain of fear is only an illusion. Okay. But the pain of what I am currently in, and I don't mean like currently, though I am still in like crappy spaces, because actually I had a car problem yesterday, which I was talking about in my video yesterday. And I don't think I brought it on myself, but hang on, let me focus and see if I can remember where I was going so we can get a clear path. Okay. So people tell you this all the time, that it's not about like reaching the goal when you set goals for yourself. It's about like the journey. Okay. Getting the thing never feels as good as like how you imagine it to be. And it's not about getting there. It's not about the destination, right? And that is the point, that people tell you the truth all the time, but they say it in, like, what is it called? They always used to, my teachers would always say, don't include those things in my writing, because it's, I don't know. It's like, if I think about it, I'll say it. But, there's sayings, right? This too shall pass. That's what people are telling you, the truth when they say those things. Okay. And it doesn't feel good in the moment. And you feel like that shit doesn't matter. because it's not helping me fix what's going on right now. The only fix to what's going on in whatever is making you uncomfortable is for you to move out of it. That doesn't mean to sit still and sit in your thoughts to try to figure it out. You have a disconnect between your mind and your heart because your mind is programmed and your heart is not. Okay. So the reason why I did the thumbnail the way that I did is because it looks like gang stuff, right? So how silly was freaking COVID? I used to always ask when I would go and buy cigarettes, I'm like, how do you know if people are like of age based on their ID? And she's like, well, sometimes you just can tell, and sometimes we have to ask them to pull the mask down, all this silliness. And that's okay, let me finish up that, and then I will go back to talking about how the kids and what they've gone through. So my friend, Eric, I refer to him all the time, and he was the one that I was like talking about in a previous video. He was trying to give me the children that I wanted. So I don't care what anybody else thought about what was going on in the relationship. It was way bigger than what people thought were going on. And even when I like tell the stories, I don't know if it makes sense because when we think about drama and we gossip and all that stuff, I don't even think that you understand what you're really thinking. Like when people think about being lazy and wanting to have retirement or go to the beach, it's like you're picturing a picture in your mind of like sitting there with a drink in your hand and you're on the beach. Do it and see how quickly you get bored. Okay. Nobody is ever satisfied with the destination. It is the journey. Okay. So anyway, he taught me how to do the blood sign with my hands. I had never known that, and I don't know what like the crypt thing is. But I used to be obsessed with like West Coast rap. It was mostly Dr. Dre, and that's what I grew up on. I was like 9 years old when that album came out, and I loved it because it was history in the making. I was smart enough to know as a child they are telling you the truth about what's happening in the streets, and they're shouting out to try to get attention and get help. Okay, they were trying to bring attention to a world where people didn't understand them, and they were being like, what do you call it? Repressed. They were being like repressed and punished for something that they did not create, like the rappers did not put themselves in poverty. It was like Stockton or Compton was like a white suburb first, okay? And then I don't remember all what happened, but where it started to become a black community, and the white people moved out, and then it became like where the chronic was born, okay? And that is more important to me. That story is way more important than how it used to be a fucking white suburb and how they moved out, white, whatever. I do not get along with white culture, okay? Because it comes from Europeans who didn't want to be where they were at. So they're like, oh, I know, we'll just like go and find new territory, right? Because like, who's the one that is, Christopher Columbus, right? He's an Italian, I think. Columbus does not sound Italian at all, but he like sailed for the Spanish. I don't remember what the story is, but anyway. And then what's up with Amerigo Vespucci? Isn't that what America was named after? Another Italian. So white culture is nothing more than like not liking where you're at and trying to grab for something different that looks more beautiful, and then still not being satisfied with it, but pushing around all the people who are already there and saying like, you're less than me because I'm cultured and I have like all these rules to follow and a certain way to dress. So you know who I am. You know my status based on whatever. That is like the most disgusting culture to have ever. And like supersizing and genetic modification to food and all that stuff. Damn, this video is going in a whole different direction than where I thought it was going. But that's what I'm saying. It's not about getting to the goal. It's about where do we meander along the way, because these are all things that I have learned that you need to be exposed to because you've been fucking brainwashed, okay? You've been manipulated, you've been brainwashed, you've been hypnotized, you already know that. So I am a hypnotist and I know how to hypnotize you out of it, okay? Because I'm not going to do it subconsciously. I will teach you how it's done subconsciously and I will like give you examples, but I am going to do it consciously by repeating positive ways of thinking about the world and perceiving the world so you can bring it back into a world that you want to live in. You don't have to change the whole world. You just have to change your perspective on yours. So my friend Eric showed me how to do the blood sign. Now, we had made a blood pact back. We only knew each other for like 8 or 9 weeks, okay? And I I don't wish that I never met him, but I am like I'm so brokenhearted that he was like the first best friend that I ever had. I was 22 and he was 24 at the time. And we hated each other at first, okay? And I can't stand the H word, but I'm just telling you, we were sort of like enemies at first. And then we became friends. And I'm not going to include all that in this video. I just want you to understand why I'm so like why I bring him back up so often. It's not because I'm like chasing a ghost. It's not because I'm hung up on this dude. It's because he was the first person in my entire life to like completely accept me for exactly who I was. Okay. He judged me first and then he learned to accept me. And then because I am just accepting of everybody, but I stay quiet about it, I wait for them to realize who I am before I'm not trying to get people's attention, okay? I'm trying to like stave off people's attention because I know that how you're judging me is not who I am. So it doesn't matter. So I stay quiet until somebody realizes who I am. And that is like the holder of unconditional love. And though I might have judgments because like that's a survival skill, I don't assume that you fit my judgment. So I always know the most valuable person in the room. I always know it because I can read everybody's energy and they're not who you think they are. The dog is barking. Hang on. Okay, he's still barking, but when he barks, it means that somebody is here or whatever. And that makes me sick to my stomach. I said it in a previous video. It makes me sick to my stomach when people come to my house and come looking for me, whether it's good or bad, uh, because the good has been drowned out by the bad. And I'm sorry. So like somebody arriving at my house unexpectedly, like I want to get over this, but I'm not over it yet. So I'm exposing it on camera. I am very uncomfortable inside. I feel like crying. Okay. This is just this is what triggers are. So we have to talk about them and move through it. All right. So yeah, I just had to check if my microphone was still on because I can't see it in my all black. All right. So I want you guys to understand me better so that you can understand yourself better. So that totally jarred me out of what I was saying, but I know I was talking about my friend because I always talk about him. And it's because he was the only place where I ever felt comfortable. He would protect me. Um, there's more stuff that, I could get into about it, but that stuff is not as relevant as understanding or understanding for you, understanding or overstanding why this connection is so important to me. It's because there was one person in the world who made me feel comfortable in myself. Okay, so we had gotten kicked out of an army school together because we were protecting each other, and they said that we were like horrible and embarrassed us and took away our money in front of the whole army detachment that was there. Okay, two of my best friends happened to not be at that performance, um, because one, he knew what was going on and he didn't want to see it because he loved us. Okay. The other one, there was somebody else by the same name in the school. And so one day at formation, um, they called out his name and somebody shouted out like, "Oh, he already graduated." So they took my friend off the roster of like who was supposed to be there because they confused him for somebody else. So he didn't have to show up to any of the mandatory formations because they took his name off the list. Okay. So the people who kind of like cared most about us, they ended up not being there. It's not only the people who cared most. It's like just anyway. So yeah, we had gotten kicked out of that school. It like all the there's just so much that I have to say. And I'm just gonna keep going because until I get it all out, um, I can't organize it properly into like these small, concise little packages of videos that maybe people are more comfortable with watching. But you're going to see, I bet you that you're going to start to see that the way that people are doing YouTube videos is going to change. Okay. Because I tend to be on the start of a curve of like something that gains popularity. Like I have a tramp stamp. Okay. I got it before those were a thing, before it had a name. And so I got my tongue pierced like before it became popular. It was like it became relevant because I found out about it. But as soon as other people started finding out about it, I took mine out because I'm like, I don't want to be like grouped in with these people because everybody would always associate it with oral sex. And I'm like, that's fucking that's definitely not why I got it. Okay. It's more because like I'm so distracted all the time. I need something to keep my attention. And it was like I chew gum or I smoke cigarettes or whatever. And oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I'm so shifty. But anyway, okay. So before we left school together, it was me and Eric and little I say little girl, but she was like she was probably 19 or something like that, but we called her a little buffalo and I cannot remember why. But anyway, so we each have a burn on our hand right here. I know you can't see it, but it's a cigarette burn. And the reason for doing it is not because we're some like crazy people who whatever. I don't know what the term is, masochist, I don't know. But we're not crazy. It's because he had said, I want us to remember like the family that we had here. And I want you to always be able to look at your hand and think about us, right? Think about like the three of us and how good of friends we were. Okay. And so I, it was his birthday in 2019, or I'm sorry, 2009. And, I'd already told this story on the Dale is Awful video. Um, but I just want to say I had like emailed him to say happy birthday because I was en route to deployment. Yeah. So this was like March of 2009. So I went to like say happy birthday and tell him about my deployment that I was going on because it was really cool. Out of like most girls can't get on a cool deployment or they don't want to. All right. So I got like the best of everything on my deployment except the way that certain people treated me, and I can talk about that later. But so I emailed him. And then I found out that my email was returned and it said like undeliverable. And I was like, why is that? Because it was his army email address. And I didn't think he had gotten out. He would have like told me or something. It was because he was dead. All right. It was because I started searching. I was a medic. So first off, I think I did like a search of his name in the medical records and it didn't say anything like yeah, it didn't give any information as to what was going on with him. So then I did an internet search with his name and I found his obituary. And I found out that he had died on August 14th of 2008. Now we had promised to like haunt each other if one of us died before the other. And he didn't. I was like, how did I not know that my best friend is no longer on this earth for that many months? Okay. And I was just like shocked. And it didn't say the way that he died. So I want you to understand that, like, that's why it's so significant to me is because since that time, I have never found anybody who has just accepted me for me. Okay. It's like they're playing games with me. So we're already 22 minutes into this. Holy crap. So just to verify or like that you got the information, hopefully you're watching this at double speed, but the reason why I was holding up blood is because he taught me how to do it. And I was like, holy shit, I had never known. Right. So I taught my kids how to do it. And they're so funny when they try. It's like, because that stuff is irrelevant now. Okay. I don't know. Maybe it's still relevant, but what I want to know, I want to like talk to people who were kids at that time. All right. And I have lots of friends from California now. I never used to like California because I just didn't like the reputation that it had, but it's a huge freaking state. I loved Compton, right? I loved the idea of Compton because they were telling a story that I was interested in. I wasn't interested in the story of which I was growing up around. It was fucking boring, right? So I am not interested in my own culture, or I can't find out more about it unless it's my family's culture, which I like. Families never talk about things because they're like trying to hide each other's secrets or whatever. I don't know. Not that my family has any secrets to hide, but I think that um yeah, I don't know. Let's just move on. So I'm really interested in other people's stories and what's going on because you know why I think it is? Because I am like a Capricorn, right? My sun sign is Capricorn, and that means like hard work and like what is true and what is false. Always trying to find out the truth from the like fake fucking news and working really hard, understanding that if you have more to give, then the answer is always yes. And that's how I've gotten myself like completely bogged down by other people's problems, is that I was always saying yes. Now, because I always want to say yes to things, but I want to say yes to new experiences and learning more about you and all these things. It's not like I don't always want to like fix your fucking problems, though I can, because it's so easy to fix problems. God, I wish I had your problems because it would be so much easier, okay, than what mine are. So, um, so I need your help in fixing my problems. And they all have to do with like energetic shit and spiritual shit that you don't understand or believe in, or you think it's made up, right? Because Hollywood makes it up, which is why I don't like California, because they're like making it seem like this stuff isn't real, and it is. Okay. So anyway, um, so yeah, I was like real obsessed with Compton and what was going on there. Well, guess what? Now I got a friend from Compton, right? And he's like kind of famous. So maybe someday he'll talk to me again, but probably not. And then I love UFC. Okay. I loved it, but I haven't followed it in a long time. And that's because it's got to be like an interest of somebody around me, because I don't want to take the time to do all the research to find things out. The best way to find things out is to find somebody who is like passionate about something and let them tell you about it, right? It's like I love sports and stuff like that, but I don't love rules. Okay. So if you are somebody who like loves a sport, um, then be my friend. And because I like you, then I care about the rules, because you're going to explain them to me and I care about you. So I'm listening to you. All right. Then I'll understand the rules. But I'm not like stupid. I can figure out like which direction the ball is headed to. And like, it's like I understand what works and what doesn't work. I just don't know all the stupid rules of it. So anyway, so Stockton is important because my favorite UFC fighter, well, I have like two. One is named Little Evil. Do you know who that is? Jens Pulver. Like BJ Penn, he was really cool. But out of that fight, BJ Penn and Jens Pulver, I wanted Jens Pulver to win because he's more my fucking style, right? You should know this by now just because you can judge from the outside. And then who is it? Nate Diaz. Okay, not Nick. Nick is like, he's whatever. But I like Nate because he's so unassuming. He's like this skinny punk who looks like skinny fat, but because he's so skinny fat, he's got long arms and legs and he can wrap people up. So like all this shit talking that he does, he's always like seems high and stuff, which if you watch my videos in normal speed, so do I, because I'm speaking so slowly. But I'm not high. All right. I'll let you know when I am on a future video, because you can like tell, right? So anyway, so I already have a love for Stockton. Well, one of my biggest crushes in my entire life, and the one who like treated me the best besides my friend Eric, was from Stockton. So I was really hoping that someday we'd end up together so I could like go back and see Stockton with him. But that ain't gonna happen, right? Because he chose not me, right? It's like he chose silence instead of like telling me his feelings. So that's not happening. So oh, and then I've got plenty of friends from Riverside, and I just like, oh my God, I love these places and I want to come there to like see your stomping grounds. Okay. So hopefully someday I will. But dang it, this video is so long. All right. Let me just do this. Let me just do this. All right. I was like trying to watch the two videos that I already made to see what stories I like didn't finish up. But I want to do that later because obviously there's still like new information that's trying to come out, because I'm trying to get you to know me so that you can understand that we have things in common. Okay. Like, doesn't matter the way that we look, we have things in common. All right. So anyway, it was really important that you understand why I made the thumbnail the way that I did. It's because like the blue bandana represents like Crips and blood represents blood. Okay. And I want you to understand that like, if you want to represent it in your body, let's say that your blood is your heart. Okay. And Crips are your mind. All right. So what we're trying to do is find a unification between these like turf wars that are happening inside of you. The brain is the liar and the heart is the truth. Okay. So what you need to do is you have to understand that your heart speaks first. It speaks softly and it only wants to tell you something once, because that is the voice of God within you. All right. It's going to whisper. It's going to tell you what the best judgment is. And then 5 seconds later, in comes your fucking mind that's been programmed by all these fools out in the world that don't want you to know what's really going on. So it's like, oh no, you shouldn't do that because like all these things, and everybody's gonna think that you're weird if you do it. Like, I don't give a fuck if you think I'm weird. All right. I'm going with what my heart says. Because it's the only it's like the fastest way to get to the world that you want. Okay. If you're feeling rejected, that's a good thing. Okay. If your heart speaks, and then you're rejected by somebody based on what your heart says, don't feel embarrassment. Use that energy of embarrassment and move. Go to another. It's not like you got to like move houses. Go, listen, I got to tell you, I need to get out of this house. I want to get out of this house because I do not feel safe here. And it's because of my ex-husband, okay? The more current one. It's not because I think that he is going to hurt me or my kids. He has done stuff to the house to make it. I just don't know what he's done. He's like thrown my stuff out. Sometimes he tells me, sometimes he did it in front of my face. And sometimes I find out later once he's like out of his animal brain and he goes back into his thinking brain and then he tells me the truth about it. Okay. And I feel so bad for him that he has to live with that regret. Okay. I feel bad. It breaks my heart because I loved him. I got love for everybody. All right. But what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. And, like I said, there's no good and bad. It's just what feels good to you. That's what's right. What feels bad to you and out of alignment with you, it's wrong. And you need to get alignment. All right. Because you're confusing everybody around you. So this is what I'm trying to tell you. You need to get in alignment with your heart. And then don't believe anything that your brain says against it. Just know that your brain is going to try to destroy the feelings of your heart because that's where the devils are. Okay. The devils are in the voices of the people around you who try to tell you to dim your light because you're not going to be accepted. You're not supposed to fucking be accepted. Which one of your light bulbs do you like throw out because it's not accepted? I don't know. Do you know? I'm just trying to give you examples of like, yeah, I don't know. Like if you, okay, if you replace your light bulbs and they start to show, if they make your room look a way that you don't like it, do you think it's better to throw out the light bulb or to change up the room? Okay, that's what I'm saying. If somebody is trying to dim the authenticity of you, you need to change the environment, not your wattage. Okay, so that's where it's at. All right, unify. It's like, okay. So I wanted to bring up something called, okay, I want you to understand that I say things when it's at the start of the curve, right? So there's like when things are just starting, then there's a curve of when they gain popularity, and then there's when they die out. I start over here before it gains popularity. And I want you, I'm going to try to give you proof of this so you can believe what I'm saying. I was asking, like, weeks ago, I was thinking, what is it called when a volcano erupts? Is there a term for it? Like there's a term of like lightning and thunder and things like that, a flood, hurricane. There's all these different terms. So when I was getting my tattoo on 314 with my friend Brandy and my tattoo artist Dennis, we were talking about, I was asking them, I was like, is there a term for a volcano erupting besides saying the volcano is erupting? And they were like, no, that's what it is. It's a volcano erupting. Okay. So I had the thought weeks ago. I asked the question about it on 314. Then I was watching a tarot reader yesterday, and her channel is called Saltwater Heals. And this was in the morning yesterday. So on 4/1. Then I get a text from my mom later on in the day, and she sent us a video because she's like on vacation right now of the volcano erupting. Her and my dad are on vacation. So, okay, so it comes into the reality, but first it comes into your thoughts. So you have to understand that stuff moves from spirit into your heart space and then into your mind and then into your physical reality. That's why I was doing the body, mind, spirit readings on my tarot, my first tarot readings. Okay. So I just wanted to show you that. And then I said I had car problems. Okay. So I was talking about, I don't think I forecasted the car being like having this situation. I think what happened was that somebody is like trying to curse me, and it's because they're thinking, okay, if you don't think that thoughts are a curse, tell me where your thoughts are contained. Okay. It's not like, okay, your mind is contained inside of your head, right? Your brain is contained inside of your head. Somebody who's trying to curse you, their brain is contained inside of their head. That is like the three-dimensional physical space. But if they were in your physical space, their thoughts could be translated into words, audible sound, okay? But they're not. You know this to be true. You are not translating all of your thoughts into audible sound because people can't hear it. They don't want to hear it because it might hurt their feelings, okay? So when somebody turns a thought into a word, you hear it. When they just have it in their thoughts, there is no three-dimensional thing that contains or exhibits this thing, but it will come into your reality, okay? So I'm telling you, if somebody is thinking bad about me, then it's going to show up as like a fruit fly, or like I'm being clumsy and I'm like knocking my coffee all over the place, or I trip on something. I'm telling you, that's how it works, okay? You don't have to believe it, but once you believe it, then you understand, and then you're not scared of it, or you're not thinking that it's all your fault, that not everything that happens is all your fault. It's not. Okay. So then you need to get people in their thoughts in unification. That's why people should be praying for you. Okay? So please pray for me. Pray for me. If you love me, or if you I don't know, whatever. Just pray for me, because I am stuck in spiritual shit that people can't get me out of. In my, like my family, they don't believe in that stuff. They think that it's like witchy or dark or cursed or what, you know what I mean? They believe the Hollywood version of it. Okay. So they think it doesn't exist, even though they've witnessed the stuff. So, pray for me and see if it changes things, because I am sick of fighting all these fucking devils in my world. Okay. I have no more capacity to give. I don't have any like money other than like what I'm trying to make, but all the problems that happen around me, there's a surplus of problems as compared to the money that I have. Okay. So it doesn't matter how much my credit card companies want their money. I don't have it. Okay. It doesn't matter how many things that I have wrong in my environment that I should be getting fixed. Like, half the heating is ripped out in the house, and it's been that way because animals underneath the house ripped it fucking out. So I'm paying more expensive heating bills. So I can't afford to get that fixed because I have to pay heating bills. And because when are you using the most heat? Probably during the winter, but here it happens from fall until spring. So when did I get all my lawsuits and had to go to court? In the fall. Okay. So I had to spend all kinds of money on that stuff. So now there's just so much stacks on stacks on stacks of like old fucking negative karma that people are trying to get me to clear up for them. So they're like thinking bad things. So it's creating negativity in my space. And they know that the easier thing for me to do would be to just like let them into my world again and let them have their way, so that they're not in pain anymore, so that they don't have to do the self-healing and the growth that I've had to do on my own in isolation, because they're not really capable of doing it. So what they'll do is switch to a different partner when they find out that being with me is difficult, because you really have to go within and you have to self-develop and you have to be authentic, or it's just people aren't strong enough to be with me. Now, it's not because I'm hard to deal with. It's because I require your complete honesty. And if you don't have it, then it's going to show up that we're out of alignment. All right. So hang on. Okay. So yesterday, I had a meeting after my kids got home from school for my son, because we have a care coordinator that helps out. I'm saying the wrong terms, but it's like a coordinator that helps us to make sure that he's getting involved in the right programs. I see my fingernail here. I was saying that I had to get rid of my nail polish the other day, and this is not some sort of symbolic significance. It's because this is the only one that I couldn't get off just by peeling it off. But sidebar, because I get distracted by myself. So, yeah, so she was helping us out with like my son's life plan, because now that he's 18, he's an adult, so he's got to do stuff for himself. So I finally got child support, but he's already knocked off of my child support. Most of my income is from disability, because I was 90% service connected disabled, right, as a veteran. So I can't fucking work full time because of all the injuries that I created in my body from trying to lose weight. It's not because I got injured in a war zone. It's because they had a stupid old standard that, despite everything that I did to perform as a good soldier in my walking, waking, sleeping day, because I was fat and I couldn't get rid of it, then they thought that I just wasn't trying hard enough and I couldn't be a soldier. Okay. So, all right. So that's why my life is the way it is. All right. And that's why I have to try to find value in myself, because everybody else has reassured me that there is no value in me or what I do, except for like my looks, I guess. Now this is another thing, is like nobody ever used to hit on me. No, and they still really don't. everybody would tell me that I'm like too fat and just all this stuff. Okay, all this negative stuff. They'd make fun of me because my hair was too thick. Well, what happened? All my hair fell out while I was trying to lose weight. Did I lose weight? No, but I lost all my hair. Did it ever come back? No, but I did get to spend lots of money on trying to get it to grow back. Lots of doctor's appointments, so I got to spend time on that. So now I get to live with it. So that was the reward of trying to lose a bunch of weight to get into the army. Yay. So anyway, car problems, right? Let's just get back to that. So I have been hearing tarot readings and stuff because they kind of keep me informed. They give me verification of what I already know inside. That's why they're important. These people are complete strangers, but they know my story and they're telling it out through visions that they're having, through these like nudges that they're getting to like speak this thing out. So there was thunderstruck. And I used to be in 17th Fires Brigade, and our thing was like a thunderbolt. And I don't think that's a thing. I think a lightning bolt is a thing, but a thunderbolt is a sound, not an image. Okay. So anyway, jeez. Okay. It's so hard for me to get all my thoughts out at one time. Car problems. All right. So I have been hearing a lot, like people are cursing you because they know that you're letting go and they know that you are trying to push them away and not let them in anymore. And they don't like it. They want your power because it benefited them and it made them feel better about themselves, which is fucking true. Okay. This is what's happened in my past. So I am like, I told you in a video yesterday, I think that the reason why I made the first channel or the first video on my channel of why tarot, it's because though the video had nothing to do with what was going on in my surroundings, I had to create an energetic break from what my ex was taking from me. Okay. I had to like start veering off in another direction and not feeling guilty that I couldn't make the relationship work out. I tried every single thing to do. Okay. And I knew that he was the problem. And he was saying that he was the problem, but it was after the fact. And we couldn't do anything to fix it. Okay. But he still will remind me that I am the problem. And I have not communicated with him since a couple of months ago. And I will like talk about that in the future, because you need to know like why these people are so important and why I stayed with them. It's because there was so much goodness inside of these people, but they fought with their mind. Okay. They let their mind win over their hearts. All right. So that's why this video is so important. So I've been hearing, they're like, I think people are wishing car problems upon you. All right. And there's a story that I have of somebody who was like right side by side with me when I was driving the other day, but whatever. I'll talk about that maybe at a different time. So my son was opening the car door the other day and I was like I was not near the car, but I heard it do this thing, like this sound that it does when something's wrong. And I was like, hey, what happened with the car? And he was like, I don't know. It just did something. And I was like, okay, because it seemed like something went wrong with it. Okay. Well, yesterday, because I had the appointment with my son after school and because I got my disability money, so I get my like income from that source like 2 days before the month ends, and then I pay out all of my bills with that. All right. So we're going to go into financial management and how to manage your money properly in a future video, but let's just talk about why this is significant. So I was like, damn, it would really be fun to just go and get dinner for the kids. But you got to understand that dinner for 5 is like immediately going to be like 50 or 60 bucks. Okay. So I'm like, can I afford that? It's like, well, right now I can. Okay. Because all the bills are already paid for the month. And it just, they deserve the treat. Okay. They deserve the treat. Not every day. Right. So I only get food for my kids like it's not often. Okay. I could probably count it on one hand, maybe 2 hands, but we never like go out to restaurants. But my mom will take us out to restaurants because she's got retirement money that she earned from having a pension or whatever. So anyway, so I asked the kids if they would like Chinese food. And they said, yeah, it'd be awesome. And I was like, okay, cool. So I go to get Chinese food from like the place that I want to go if I ever get it. And it happens to be closed on Tuesdays. So I'm like, okay, got to find something else. So I looked up other Chinese food restaurants near me. And there was a place, the closest place was called New Dragon. And I was talking about the dragon energy, Enter the Dragon, in the previous video. So I'm like, oh, okay, that speaks to me. That's where I'm going to go. Great. So I go there. I put in my order and I am watching as like she's I was watching the numbers, right? Because numbers speak to me. So the number that was on the register before she started inputting my order was 4422. And I'm just like, okay, cool number, right? I don't have to understand the meanings behind these things. I just understand that sometimes like numbers download things. They're programs. That's what computer programs are made out of. So sometimes when a number is significant to you, it's for a certain reason, okay? Whether you know it or not. So then she starts putting in my order and I see 1497. All right. And this is like, I have photographic memory. That's how I remember so much. I see the whole scene and then I can explain it to you. And then, so 149 seems to be important. There was a unit 194 that was in 17th Fires Brigade, but 149 seems to be significant. I don't know. Maybe because my parents were born in 1949. And then 7 is like a sacred number. I was saying Thursday feels like a 7. That feels like a lucky number. So I recognize that number. And then the total came out to 5557. And I'm like, oh, damn, I like that number because it's like all these fives, which mean change, which is also my life path number. And then it came out to a 7. Well, listen, don't tip everybody, okay? Because they want to add tips onto everything. Now, they were not serving me, but the quality of like Chinese food is usually awesome, like the quality of vegetables and stuff. So I want to give them a tip because I respect that they I like it when people don't get anything wrong. Okay. They didn't get anything wrong. So even though I wasn't sitting there to eat, I gave them a $10 tip. So my total was $65.57. Okay. So I go in on this investment of dinner because I feel like we deserve it. We deserve to have a break. I don't feel like cooking for the night. I just want to go and enjoy it and give my kids something that they enjoy too. So I get back from picking up the food and I go to open the sliding door on my van and I hear like, and then a snap. And I'm like, what the fuck was that? I already know what it is, right? So I close the door and I'm just praying that the door will shut. Okay. Because this is this is now the third time that door has had a break in it that is not covered by insurance, even though it fucking should be, because it would just swing open while I was driving and my kids are in the back of the car. Okay. How is that not a safety hazard for a minivan? How is that not covered with insurance? Okay. I don't understand it. It's not okay with me. Sorry, I'm just distracted with like, I just missed a call. Anyway. So, pause. Oh, okay. No. So I have had to pay already almost $4,000 just to get that door fixed twice. Okay. Just that one. Now I had to get the other one on the other side replaced too. And it's not like the door, it's the mechanism within it. Well, there's like 15 different mechanisms that can go wrong. And so each one gets to be a different charge. So I bet it's not covered under the warranty because what snapped this time is a fucking like line that like the thing slides back and forth on. I'm getting the call again, but I'm not going to answer it right now because this is more important to me. So yeah, so I had another car problem yesterday, and guess what that's going to cost me? Based on what I've had to pay before, and as inflation keeps going up, somewhere between $1,000 and $2,000. I'm willing to bet if I go and get it done at the Toyota Service Center where I had to get it done before. And what is going to happen is that I'm going to spend a bunch of money on this thing, and it does not enhance the performance of the car. So I still need rear brakes. I still need an oil change. The most recent, yeah. It's time for another oil change. Guess what that's going to cost? $600. I already know because I had to get the front brakes replaced and an oil change before I dropped my kids off for their Christmas trip. Okay. So I'm telling you, guess how much it costs to, like last time I was quoted on getting a whole new furnace because they said that my furnace needed to be replaced also, in addition to the shit underneath the house, the ventilation, $4,000. And that was like 4 years ago. So I'm just telling you that, like, okay, I'm having all these car problems, but it was not an actual like functional problem with the car. So what did I do? I came right in the house and I told the kids, so the car door broke again, so please nobody use it. So I pressed the button on the automatic like door feature so that nobody will open it because I do not want my kids being harmed again by the door just sliding open. Fortunately, it did shut and lock. But I don't know. Maybe in the manual like version of it, I can get it to work and I don't have to get this shit replaced right now. We'll just work with it the way that we have it. Okay. But I don't get to use my little automatic function thing that has cost me already $4,000. So fine. So I tell the kids, like, don't use it. And then because this happened before where we got it to shut, but then my daughter opened it because she was trying to clean out the car because her friend was going to be in it. Okay. So I didn't punish her for this because she was trying to do a good thing. So what I did was I was looking for electrical tape so it would match with the color of the car. Can't find the electrical tape where I put it. So the only thing I could find was like pink tape. So I put a little bit of pink tape on the door handle to remind us, don't open that door. All right. So, all right, let me finish up what I have on here, and then I have to stop this video because it's boring me. It's like I get bored with it, all right? That's why you have to watch it in double speed. The haunted ring disappearance, okay? This is what I have jotted down on my thing. I didn't tell you that the reason why I don't have my grandmother's diamond ring anymore is because I had it stolen from me in my haunted apartment. I used to have 2 rings, and I stopped wearing them to work because I would wear them to work to identify that I was married, okay? To make sure that even though my husband hadn't bought me a wedding ring, I would use my engagement ring that I had bought back from my first engagement. And I'll tell you more about that at another time. And I would wear my grandmother's diamond ring. I have neither of those rings anymore because the apartment, the haunting, the whatever, or my ex-husband pawned it. I don't know which one happened, but yeah, they would tear my gloves at work because I had to wear gloves as a medic. So I left them at home in a drawer. And I started to notice, like I opened the drawer one day and I noticed only the newer diamond ring there, not my grandmother's. Okay. So then that other diamond ring I ended up sending off to this dude that I was like infatuated with because I had affair with him. And I will tell that story in the future because I wanted to break up with my husband, get a divorce, and marry this guy. Okay. So I was just always living in fantasies that other people started for me and then never completed. All right. So this is why I'm so fucking delusional, is that I was living in the fantasies of somebody else's world. All right. And I thought, oh, because I'm a woman, I have to let the man lead the way. Well, when they're a fucked up dude, they lead you into chaos. All right. So I'm not doing that anymore. All right. So I didn't tell you that the ring disappeared. And that was like the point of why I was saying it. And then Irish goodbye, meaning I was like, I had joined Hinge. Okay. Not because I was looking for like a partner, but I was trying to figure out like, what do they do differently? Because they say that they are, an app that is meant to disappear. They don't want you to keep using their app. And so I was trying to discover, what are they doing? It's like, I'll tell you about that in a future video. But I kept seeing Irish goodbye in certain people's profiles. I'm like, what the hell is this? And so I look it up and it's like when you sneak out without like telling everybody goodbye. I'm like, dude, I've been doing that forever. Okay. So, hey, look at this. This video is almost an hour. Great. So yeah, I didn't complete that story. And then what I wanted to tell you was like the cigarette price difference from, I told you I had transitioned yesterday. It was like, these were $30 a carton at the far away place where I go to get them. And they're like 35 at the closer place, but I don't really like going there because it's hard to park. So already super inexpensive. Okay. Now look, I was guided to make a shift by all the signs in my environment to this brand. This was $27.50 for a carton. Plus I got 2 free cigarettes as a trial. Plus I got a free pack because I had bought a carton. All right. So all in all, and these are all natural. Now, that doesn't mean that they're healthy. It just means that they're natural. All right. And when you get things that are natural, I would almost say that you never get the same thing twice because nature is not synthetic. Okay. It's not going to perform the same way just because you want it to. It's not always going to be the same. So I find that they are like a little bit hard to take a drag on, but not always, but whatever. Yeah. So when things are in alignment for you, they come through as like even better, even more in alignment for what you prefer. Like, wouldn't it be great if I just quit smoking? I don't know, maybe for you, but not for me. I like to smoke. Okay. So it's better that I found a better product and it was less expensive. And then I need to explain cheap weddings to you. Okay. Because I've had 2 weddings and my parents have not been there for them. And that was because based on the whole thing that I had said before on why I never dated people, it's because they already told me that they wanted to get married. So I thought, oh, they want to be committed to me and like having a great relationship. So why go through all the rigmarole of dating? Because aren't you just dating to figure out if you get along well together? So it's like, if you already feel that you're drawn to me, then yeah, let's do this thing. And like, if things don't work properly, then we have to figure out ways to make it work, right? Because we're doing this based on a commitment to us, not to everybody else. So we didn't put on a big show for our weddings. It was for us. And like, it didn't matter if anybody was there to support it. So I didn't even tell my parents that I was with anybody in Korea, okay? Because I want you to just show up and prove it, right? I don't care about all the like parties and all the words that you want to say about it. It doesn't matter. Your actions show your words and your thoughts and your heart and your feelings, okay? So I was like all into this. It was 54:45, which is palindrome. Thank you, Nick, for telling me that. Because now that I've seen it in text, I can picture it in my mind. All right. So I hang on, let me pause one more time. It is so exhausting for me to speak. I am like so annoyed with how much energy it takes to speak, but I'm trying to get this shit out, okay? Because so that you will, please, because I record these things so I don't have to repeat myself. All right. Um, not to you in conversation. When we're in conversation, that's why I'm doing this. I'm recording everything so that you understand why I did all the things that I did. Not so you're just like, damn, she must be real fucked up if she's got so many problems. These problems, if you think that my plan of actions led to this, if you think that this was my desired outcome, or that I didn't plan well enough, I'm trying to use this channel as proof, okay, that I never planned on these things happening. All right, so my ex-husband and I, we got married at the U.S. Embassy because we had met in Korea, in South Korea, and that's what we had to do. So we had to take like a bus down to Seoul, all right, to get married there. We stood in the wrong line. Oh my God, I will go through and I will like do that day in detail. I will tell you that day in detail because there were so many red flags, okay? But it doesn't mean just because you see a bunch of red flags doesn't mean that you shouldn't do the thing. I don't know, maybe it does. But when I see red flags, it doesn't mean that I shouldn't do the thing. It means that like, oh, I understand why they happen. I understand what causes them. And I'm like, okay, it's just a problem waiting for a solution. But I never try to change people. Okay. What I see is their truth. And then I see how they veer off from their truth. And I'm like, I accept people unconditionally. So I accept you when you veer off of your truth, but I still want you to get back to it. So I'm like, oh, women are supposed to be inspirational for men, and men are supposed to produce and protect for their women, like produce money and protect their women. All right. So I'm like, I'll just be inspiring to them and they'll like fix their problems that way in the natural polarity of things. Well, that's not what happens. I don't know why the camera focus just shifted. Probably because I have to get off of here. It's 57:07 when I was looking at it. So, cheap weddings, stop making these like thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars weddings, right? My son was watching the wedding planner this morning or last night because he loves J-Lo and J-Lo movies. And so I just watch all this stuff. If you start out your relationship with this huge wedding where you are the center of attention and you're just like telling everybody how much you love each other and you're like reading off the vows and doing all this stuff, it's like, where do you go from there? Okay. So like, yeah, nobody was there for my first wedding except my son. He was like in my womb at that time because I couldn't get married until my commander gave me approval to go down to Seoul and have a day off of work. All right. So that's why I was pregnant 6 weeks before I was married. And then my second wedding, we had already planned on getting married. And then when that fell through, because I had already gotten the wedding dress and stuff, which I finally re-released the video that I had filmed in my wedding dress. And the reason why I went private with all my stuff was because I had opened up communication back with my previous partner. And while we were like having this open communication through text, I think his like current girlfriend or something like that must have found my YouTube channel through my Facebook. I just saw lightning outside. Um, so, and then she realized that I was talking about him. I don't know exactly what went down. I'm just inferring this stuff based on the text that he was sending me. So, the problem is that when the truth comes out, when my previous partners move on to another person and the truth comes out because they still want to be connected to me somehow, it ruins them and it ruins their relationships. And then because like lies get exposed. And that's why I wish people would never connect with me unless they're really committed to it, because it's going to ruin your life. I am only going to tell you the truth. Okay. And if you're not used to that, okay. I just I can't keep going on with that. But, my family like rejected the concept of us getting married because they were right and I was wrong. That like problems can't be changed, okay? When they're deep within somebody like that, they just can't be changed. So, but I believed in him. Despite all that, I believed in him because I believe in God and I believe in miracles, all right? And I've seen them happen in negative ways. So, so we got back together and then we planned on getting married and my kids were the only witnesses to it because we got married at City Hall, all right? And I was just like I was so happy. I did have the kids record me like saying my vows to him or whatever. And I was crying because I was so happy. And I just thought it was going to be enough for him and it wasn't. All right. So I'm just going to leave it off at that. But that's how you can have a cheap wedding. Just make it important for the people who are important to you. You don't have to have a big thing. And it cost us like $100. My second wedding was like $100. My first one was like, I don't know, probably close to about the same amount. And I had on like jeans and black high heeled boots and a black shirt. And, my second wedding, I went a little bit more expensive and got like this real pretty satin dress that I wore in that video and this like fur thing that I really liked. And, what else? And I got the wedding rings that I really wanted, which were these like moonstone rings. And then he fucking threw them out. And I'll have to tell you a video about that at another time. But yeah, he threw them on the railroad tracks behind my house. And like once he felt guilty about it, he looked for them for months and months and months, So, all right, I'm out. I love you. It's 010101. All right, bye.